everybody. Happy Monday. For those of you celebrating, happy Memorial Day. My name is Janelle Villiers, and I am here with you for another episode of the Janelle Villiers podcast, where I love to talk about all things in terms of books, writing books, AI, how to build your business, all the things. In addition to that, I oftentimes also bring on other authors so you guys can hear from them and hear about their journey and their process. And when I'm not doing that, then I'm interviewing someone who hasn't written a book yet, but their story is definitely worth knowing about and sharing. So I'm excited to be with you guys today because today we have a very interesting topic. But before we get into that, if this is the first time that you're on with me, hello, welcome all my first timers. Go ahead and put 1 in the chat if this is your first time. I love to welcome all my first timers. If you are returning, if you've been here before and you're returning for some more information, go ahead and put a 2 in the chat or in the comment sections. That way I know that you're returning, I can shout you out. If you're watching the recording, go ahead and put an R, sign language for R, in the comment sections. That way I know that you're watching the recording. And look, I answer all the questions. I go back and I look. So if you're watching the recording, please make comments, ask questions. Today I'm excited because I'm actually going to be demonstrating for you guys today. And so let's get into today's topic, shall we? So today's topic is, nope, that's not it. No, it is. I want to help you guys scale your business. And so it's not necessarily about content, but I do want to help you scale your business. So let's show that on the bottom, right? I want to help you guys do that. Actually, let me edit this because it's going to annoy me. I'm not sure how that happens, but we can fix that very quickly. There we go. Okay, so I want to talk about how you guys can use AI to scale your businesses without necessarily hiring a huge team or anything like that. And I know this is a big deal for a lot of us, me included, right? There's only one of us. There's only so much that we can do. But also sometimes you don't have the overhead to necessarily hire a bunch of people to help you out. So I want to talk to you guys, do a demonstration as well as to how you can use AI to help you do that. So I just want to make sure that there's one thing clear first, and that is you don't need a bigger team. I just really want to make sure that's clear. This is not about that. You just need a better system. So let's get to that. Okay, so here's what's going on, right? And I hear this all the time. It's, look, I'm maxed out. I can't take on any more clients. I actually think I need to hire in order to be able to have the capacity to take on more people. And so you're working harder than ever, but your revenue has kind of plateaued, right? You're not like necessarily bringing in more money. And so you feel like you're constantly trading your time for money. And there's no way to break through this without necessarily adding more people. At least that's what it feels like. And so you're thinking, honestly, I think this is the only way that this makes sense, right? I can't see any other way around this. You've probably had some mentors and some other people talk to you about it. Your inner being, your inner spirit is telling you you need more, right? There's only one of you. And I think that's because everywhere you look, that advice is essentially what you're getting from everyone. Everyone's talking about you need to scale your team, you need to hire faster, you need to build, right? But here's the thing that no one is talking about, and that's for most people who are doing a consulting, coaching business, hiring more people actually creates more problems than it solves. And so let me name some of the things that are happening. First, you're now managing people instead of doing the work that you're best at, right? And so now you're spending a lot of time doing that. Your profit margins get smaller because it's really expensive to hire these people, right? And then now your income then becomes even more unpredictable. And then you're spending more time training and coordinating and putting out fires than you do actually serving the people that you've been called to serve, right? And so here's what's really interesting about all this is that you still have the same bottleneck, right? Ends up being you. You're still like the issue here for all of that. And so that could be really, really frustrating because, these are your ideas, your framework, your process and everything like that. It's all living inside your head though, right? And so hiring someone doesn't necessarily solve the problem of like getting the process out. It just kind of like let's just say it makes it a little bit more complex, shall we? And I think for a lot of people, this slows people down a lot. It slows their business down. It slows down working with clients. And this idea of scaling doesn't actually happen in the way that you want it. And so it kind of feels like you're going backwards. So I think a lot of people can understand that. You definitely don't want to do that, right? Hi. And so, yeah, I agree with you, right? We want to actually go forward. And so what might be the better path then? You're wondering, right? Because this is what you've been told, this is what your mentors are saying, right? And I think the answer to this is that you just build the structured intellectual property first. So I'm talking to you, you've got your framework, you have your process down, and then you just use AI to amplify it. So I want to break this down. I'm going to do a demonstration for you guys so you can see this, but I want to make sure that this is very clear and that your ideas, your method, your framework, that's a repeatable process, right? And so the way that you solve problems that, by the way, no one else solves, right? You are the best person at solving these problems. No one else does it the way that you do it, right? And that's your intellectual property. That's your IP. And so now that's documented, it's structured, it's organized, and it becomes something that you can actually now scale. And this is where AI becomes super powerful. Excuse me. Because AI without the structure, it just kind of makes you more forgettable. You sound like everybody else. But if you use it to build what you already have, your IP, then you can use it to create leverage. And it can help you deliver a lot faster and create more content, serve more clients, and automate the repeatable parts of your process so you can focus on like really high value strategic work that only you can do. And the key is this: AI doesn't necessarily, well, AI, point blank, AI doesn't replace your expertise. End of story, bottom line. You've got a framework. It can't replace that. But it can help you just stay in your zone of genius for longer. So that way you can do what you love to do and you have something else doing all the other things within your voice. So I'm going to actually do a demonstration. Who wants to see a demonstration? Say me in the comments. Say me in the comments. I'm going to share screen and actually show you how you can do this. Okay. So first, let me share my screen. So I'm going to use Claude as the tool. Okay, I'm sure everybody can see my screen now. And so I'm going to show you exactly what I mean. I'm going to demonstrate how Claude can do the work of, let's say, a junior employee, but only when it's built with your structured IP. So let's say you're a leadership consultant, right? So you help people in leadership positions, you help them become better leaders, and you have a very signature framework for that called the 5-pillar executive presence. Okay, let's say it's called that. And so you recognize that without this structure, you'd hire someone to help with client communications, content creation, maybe even how you deliver your program. And that's easily, I mean, you're easily hiring someone that would need like a $50,000 salary, right? But watch what happens when you have your IP documented and you use AI instead, okay? So first I'm going to upload my framework document to Claude. So I already have a framework document. If you're curious as to what that looks like, let's see, can I pull it up here? I'm not sure I can pull it up here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to attach it as, oh no, what's this? No, I don't want to do that. Just want to attach a file. Nope, it's not letting me do that. That's okay. I have the file somewhere else, so I can just copy and paste it. That's not a problem. There's so many different ways that we can do this, right? Actually, and this is good because if I copy and paste it, then you guys can see some of the things that I have included. Okay, so here is, I'm going to tell Claude, I'm going to give you my 5-pillar framework, and then I want you to save it to help me with some other actions. Do you understand? Okay, so just make sure that it understands. I always ask that because if it doesn't understand, it will also tell you, no, I'm not really sure. So yeah, see, I understand. Please provide the framework. So now I'm going to paste the framework here. And it's pasting. It's a long document, but I've now pasted it. And why is it asking to do this? This is so weird. Maybe we can only do parts at a time. This is live, people. This is how you know it's live. Okay, so I'm just going to give the 5 pillars here. Let's see. Nope, that's too much. Okay. So what we're going to do instead is we're going to do this. I'm documenting the pillars one at a time. So let's do this. So we're going to do pillar 1. This is pillar 1. Oh, it's still, is it still too much? What's, oh. Okay, so this is pillar 1. I'm so sorry, guys. I don't know why it keeps asking me to, I already have pro. I'll just do the $199 for now. Oh, now you guys are going to see all my card information. Let me stop sharing. Taking a moment. This is in real time, guys. This is how you know it's in real time. Just sit back and I will be with you shortly. I will cut a lot of this up. All right, so let me go back to sharing screen. Okay, so let's start again. So now I should be able to upload my whole entire framework without it being a problem. Yep, there it is. Instead of having to do it one at a time. Okay, so this has my 5 pillars clearly outlined, my method for doing it, my client transformation stories, and my core teaching points. And then I'm going to ask Claude to do 3 things as a junior employee. What a junior employee would typically do or handle. And the first is, I'm going to say this, Claude, using my 5-pillar framework, write a welcome email for a new executive coaching client named Sarah. She's struggling with executive presence in board meetings. So now it's going to write this email so that way I don't have to. And what you're going to see here is that It does everything, right? It tells Sarah, welcome. I've reviewed your note about feeling unseen and unsettled in board meetings. Quick overview of how we'll work together. We'll use the 5 pillars. It talks about the focus, the process, the first, what we'll do in the first month, the immediate action steps, right? All of this in an email, right? Okay, so notice that it uses the framework. Notice that it references the specific pillars. It's my tone and voice, and it addresses Sarah's specific challenge. Do you guys see that? It knows my framework, right? Because I gave it to them, and it uses my language to personalize to the client's situation, because I've also told Claude how to use my voice, right? So that's a 20-minute task that just took what, less than 30 seconds, right? Okay, so let's look at task number 2. Now I want it to help me create some content, right? So let's do content creation and next. And so if we were to tell Claude this, so let's do this prompt. Now let's create contents. Claude, turn pillar number 3 of my framework, commanding the room, into a LinkedIn post that teaches one key insight and invites engagement. So here we go again, right? Normally this would take me a really long time because I'm trying to figure out what to say, what would be good words. I don't want to make it too long. And again, in less than 30 seconds, it's already created something for me, right? That's content that extends your reach, right? This is going to teach your framework, and it positions you as the expert. Again, all generated in seconds. So this says, commanding a room isn't about being louder, right? In terms of volume, it's about intentional energy. And so here are some key insights. Strategic silence creates gravity. When you enter, settle physically for 2 to 3 seconds, then speak. That short pause signals confidence. It gives listeners permission to attend and makes your first sentence carry more weight. Try this in your next meeting. Enter with purpose, slow, steady breathing. Pause for 2 to 3 seconds before you start, and then lead with one strong declarative sentence. Then use silence to let it land. And so then you can ask this question, right, in the comment section. Have you ever used a deliberate pause and changed the outcome of a conversation? Share one example or try this in your next meeting and repost back what happened. Right? So this is excellent. This gives people something to do. It gives them an actual takeaway that, look, like this woman has a framework. She's showing me exactly what to do. She's obviously an authority in this space. She's asking me to try it and see if it works, or even if I've done it before. And then right now you're creating engagement because you're asking people questions and getting them involved. So this is really helpful. Again, would have taken me like an hour to come up with this on my own, but it was able to do this in a matter of seconds. And so I would say that like a content manager, even if you hired someone to do this, this would take maybe an hour to draft this. And again, Claude did it in about 10, maybe 15 seconds. Okay, one more. So I'm going to do this. Let's see. How about we ask Claude this? Claude, a client just asked me how to apply pillar 2 when their team is resistant to change. Give me a coaching response I can send back. So it's taking its time. Again, it's thinking about your pillars. It's going to be thoughtful, and it's going to be framework based, and it's going to be definitely in a coaching tone, right? To give them exact steps as to what to do. So this is awesome. Thanks. Resistance is normal. Apply pillar 2 by meeting people where they are, not forcing them to meet you. Here's a practical approach you can use with your team this week. 1, diagnose first. Ask, right? What's your biggest concern about this change? Really listen. And then reframe the message. For skeptics who need data, Here's the evidence showing the expected impact and the risks we're mitigating, right? And then it literally goes through all these different steps that the client could take because they're experiencing resistance. In addition to this, Claude also gives an example of for something that you may want also, which is a 5 to 7 slide, which you can share as like a presentation, right? And it lays out the data and everything. So that way the client could also use that when they're going into their next meeting, right? So this is also a really, really cool thing that may be really helpful for your clients, right? And I think this, to be honest, this is the kind of support and the kind of response that would normally require a trained associate who knows your methodology inside and out, right? I mean, just be honest. And Claude can do this because I fed it my structured IP first. Okay, so hopefully you found that helpful. If you found that helpful, go ahead and put an H in the comment section so that way I know that you found that helpful. I can always come on and do more demonstrations in the future. So if you want me to come and do more demonstrations for you guys in the future, I would love to do that. I don't mind at all. It's a lot of fun for me to do these demonstrations. And so what I want you to understand, in under 3 minutes, Claude handled client communication, content creation, and program support. These 3 tasks alone would justify hiring someone part-time or maybe even full-time, and they would get a salary of anywhere between $30,000 to $40,000, right? But because my IP is structured and documented, AI can handle it for a fraction of the cost, and I maintain complete quality control. Now, scale that across your entire business. Email sequences, social media content, client resources, and worksheets. Claude builds them based on your IP. Especially, I know for me, the follow-up communications are key. Claude can personalize them for each client. And this is how you double your revenue with the same team. You. One consultant I worked with used this exact approach and went from serving 12 one-on-one clients to running a group program with 40 participants because AI handled all the communication, the content, and support that would have required 2 employees. But here's what I want you to understand really clearly what's making all this work. It's that your IP comes first, right? So what she did is she spent months documenting her methodology, organizing her frameworks, and structuring her process way before she got AI to like get involved. And then it was only after that she trained Claude. And now she's scaled without payroll, without management overhead, without the hiring nightmare. And that's the power of systems, because systems save you time, energy, and money. All right. Now I want to talk about something that ties all of this together. It's your book. Surprise, surprise. Because here's what most consultants don't realize is that your book is the ultimate system builder, right? If you put all of your methodology in a book, or when you even start to write the book, you're forced to clarify your thinking, document your process, organize your IP in a way that is teachable, repeatable, scalable, right? And so your book really becomes the foundation of all of that. And it's going to feed your courses, your coaching programs, your consultation frameworks, all of it. The book is not just a marketing tool. It's really the structure that everything else uses. So that way everything else is even possible. And when your book is clear, your systems are clear. And when the systems are clear, scaling becomes simple. And this is what I tell every consultant. Write your book first. Build the system second. Then add AI to amplify what you've already built. That's really what you've got. All right, guys. So again, if this was helpful, go ahead and put an H in the chat or in the comment section. Put a V in the chat or the comment section if this was valuable for you. If you're feeling stuck right now, if growth feels limited and you're tired of hearing just hire more people, here's what I want you to know. You're not behind. You don't need a bigger team. You need clarity on your IP, your frameworks, your methodology. You need clarity on that whole system that you have. How do you help people get to their transformation? What are those steps? Start there and then document your process. Turn your expertise into something structured and repeatable. That's a big part of this. And then you build from that foundation. It's then and only then that you layer AI on to scale what's already working. You don't have to rush this. Please hear me on that. You don't have to rush this. But you do get to decide that this is the year that you stop trading time for money and start building leverage instead. So look, when you're ready, I can help you do exactly that. You're not alone, and you can absolutely build this. Let's go. All right, everyone, that is my time. I will see you next week, same time, same place. Oh, I lost my microphone, but hopefully you can hear me. This is fun. If you want me to do more demonstrations, go ahead and put more in the comment section so I know that you want me to do more demonstrations. I'll get those on the books as soon as possible. Take care, everyone. See you next week. Bye.